Final rundown of APEC Leaders Week. State funeral for late Hagen Judge. And teachers confirm salaries of 7 kina each last fortnight.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news this Wednesday. The country is 1 month away from the APEC Leaders Summit to be held in Port Moresby. 280 officials from APEC member economies are in Port Moresby to get the final rundown of the Leaders Summit. APEC CEO Christopher Hawkins says infrastructure in the city, like roads and hotel accommodation, will be finalised this month.
280 officials are attending a briefing this week on what will happen on November 17th and 18th for the APEC Leaders Summit. Leaders from APEC members countries are expected to arrive on the 17th of November and then be greeted by the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill at the APEC House, where the official family photo will take place. The Leaders Summit will be held the following day on the 18th. APEC Chief Executive Officer Christopher Hawkins says public holidays proposed for 17th and 18th are yet to be gazetted by NEC.
Those days are now to be considered by Cabinet. Cabinet will make its decision for August.
Meanwhile, the Jackson's International Airport is under construction to have holding base for the aircraft for APEC leaders.
Not all will be parked here, of course, leaders' aircrafts. We've spoken to our Australian partners. They're very cooperative. They will give us around 30 parking spaces in Brisbane, Cairns, and probably Darwin, and also Indonesian, so offering us 17, we've got confirmation of that, 17 spaces for parking in Jaipur and Morocco, including for small jets, for CEOs, etc. That's potential help from them. So it's something that we're very comfortable with managing. It's just a matter of spacing the landings and taking offs and so forth, and clearing the leaders through the airport to the hotels, etc.
But there is infrastructure yet to be completed. The Hilton Hotel is scheduled to host a gala dinner for the leaders on the 17th, and some roads in the city are yet to be finished.
Independence Drive, I'm not sure of the exact date, but it's coming. It's coming soon. You can see how far along that is. Same as the Purina Freeway. That's opening up. We have Independence Drive. They're still just finishing off there.
As for the 2,000 media expected to attend and cover the APEC meet, the International Media Centre that will be based at Taroma Aquatic Centre will be set up 2 weeks before the summit.
It centres around a very big press conference area that takes over in a workspace that takes 1,000 media tables with a briefing space in front. We have another series of other press conference spaces from a few hundred seats to 50. But at the heart of the electronic side is the International Broadcast Centre. Now that's where we bring together every piece of television kit I think we have in equipment that we have in the country, and we have to bring some from overseas for a satellite uplink and that sort of thing. And that's where all the broadcast is facilitated through.
Adelaide Sturrock Curry, National EMTV News.
There has been an admission that Bougainville has somewhat failed to properly acquit for funds drawn down from the national level. Autonomous Bougainville Government Chief Secretary Joseph Nobeta made these remarks when addressing a meeting of finance officers from around the country. According to Mr. Nobeta, whilst the ABG had continually accused the national government of not honouring its financial commitments to Bougainville, the ABG was also to blame for not strengthening its public service to prevent financial mismanagement. Mr. Nobeta was speaking at the 15th Provincial and District Finance Managers Conference in Buin, South Bougainville. His comments come at a time when the ABG is preparing for the upcoming political referendum scheduled to be held in June 2019. National Finance Minister James Marape arrived this afternoon to officiate at the conference, where he is expected to announce several new innovations that Finance Department is looking to implement in achieving the recently launched third medium-term development plan. A state funeral was held today in Mount Hagen for the late resident Judge Justice Terence Harold Folds. Justice Folds' body will be flown to his home in Hobart, Australia tomorrow. His funeral service was attended by Chief Justice Sir Salamo India, judges and lawyers.
Late Justice Harold Folds passed away on the morning of September 17, 2018. He died while serving a term of 3 years with the PNG judiciary as the resident judge of Mount Hagen. His body was flown from Port Moresby to Mount Hagen this morning for the state funeral to be held before being repatriated to Australia.
And that is a decision that we judges make, that we will sign up to. A very important condition. We know that our judicial service has begun, will begin in Papua New Guinea, and may end in Papua New Guinea.
Late Justice Folds was appointed as the National and Supreme Court Judge in December 2016. During his appointment, he was the Senior Crown Counsel and Civil Litigation at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and the Solicitor General's Litigation Division in Hobart, Tasmania.
During the interview, I did ask him, would you be willing to serve in any part of Papua New Guinea? And he said, no problem.
Those who attended the funeral today were CJ Sir Salamo India, Deputy CJ Sir Gibbs Salika, other senior judges, lawyers, Governor Pius Wingti. His wife, late Folds, is survived by his 2 children and his wife. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
In order to maximize on opportunities to help the rollout of the NID program, the Constitutional Law Reform Commission will pilot a partnership program with the Civil and Identity Registry at the Tewai CSC Development Authority. While the Civil Identity Registry is collecting customs of the Tewai CSC district, the NID team will be registering all the members of the district.
The Constitutional Law Reform Commission will be partnering with the Department of Planning and the Tewai CSC Development Authority to unify resources and maximize output of government services. The Law Reform Commission will be collecting data on customary law in Tewai CSC district, and with that opportunity available, the Civil and Identity Registry under the Department of Planning can register all the members of the district under the NID program.
So the PNG CIRS agreed to partner with CLRC to go to locations where CLRC is working. Then while we're doing the custom recording, the NID people will go out and start registering our people.
The CLRC and the Department of Planning will counterfund the exercise, and the Tewai CSC Development Authority will provide funding and logistical support for the exercise.
CLRC will then put aside 100,000 to support the work of custom recording. So while CLRC is recording custom, they can start to register our people in Tewai CSC. PNG CIR has also agreed to counterpart the funding with another 100,000.
The rollout of the program will be piloted in 3 districts, 2 of which will be the provinces of the commissioners of the CLRC, the first being Tewai CSC district, where the commissioner is member Dr. Kobe Bomareo, the other commissioner is Dr. Alan Marat, member for Rabaul. The final one is the CLRC chairman, Robert Atiafa's district, Henganofi.
Our chairman, Honorable Robert Atiafa, our member, Honorable Dr. Kobe Bomareo, and Honorable Dr. Alan Marat. And they said, yes, we would like to participate with CLRC and PNG CIR in this project. And so what we have now done is that we have developed an agreement that 3 of us are signing.
Dr. Bomareo said it is an opportunity for his district to be the first to have all their customs registered by the CLRC and necessary citizens registered under the NID program.
We also will provide 50,000 towards that, apart from logistics. And my signing today will initially will show that the district is fully behind that, and we want to be one of those first districts in Papua New Guinea. And I believe not all districts in Papua New Guinea have come this so far with fully registering their customs, fully registering the people.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV News.
The Matanai district in New Ireland has provided 200,000 kina for its polio eradication campaign. The district presented the funding to the New Ireland Provincial Health Authority for its leg of the nationwide vaccination program. A convoy around Kavieng town yesterday signaled the beginning of the polio vaccination campaign. The funding will also cater for other health needs and will be channeled through the Provincial Health Authority. Meanwhile, health authorities in the autonomous region of Bougainville also launched their polio vaccination campaign yesterday. 180 health workers will be engaged in about 80 polio clinic sites set up across the island, targeting an estimated 116,000 children. 10 other centers throughout the country also launched their polio campaign to prevent a possible outbreak of the disease. This is Wednesday's news. Still ahead, teachers in Lay confirm being paid 7 kina for past 3 fortnights. More stakeholders calling for explanation, and we asked the finance minister about it. Stay tuned to find out what his response was after these messages. Welcome back. 2 teachers at Markham Road Primary School in Lay confirmed being paid only 7 kina each last fortnight. Like many other teachers experiencing the same, they want to know why their salaries are being cut. Lucy Kopana and MTV's Lay team have been following this story closely.
This afternoon, we spoke to 3 teachers at the Markham Road Primary School in Lay who have been experiencing pay cuts. 2 of these teachers only received 7 kina last fortnight. Shamila Pisev says she was supposed to receive 200 kina after necessary deductions were made.
I only received 7 kina, and my 200 kina after all the deductions have gone, and I don't know where it has gone to. And as a single parent, it's a burden to me too.
Kelina Kendara also received 7 kina in the last 2 fortnights.
For my pay 19 and 20, the 2 fortnights, I just received only 7 kina in my pay. And I don't know what happened to the rest of my other pays.
32 teachers from the Malahang Technical High School have also raised similar concerns. Some have had their pays cut for 3 consecutive fortnights. The lowest one teacher here received was 45 kina.
I don't know what he's going to do with that 45 kina 78 toya. He has families and he has bills to pay and other things. He has children in school that he needs to cater for.
Another teacher at Markham Road Primary School says this has affected her family.
It is really a problem when I have pay cut. It really contributes a lot of problem for my family needs as well.
She says teachers deserve an explanation from the authorities concerned. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lay.
19 teachers from Lay's Huonville Primary School have also reported pay cuts of almost 4,000 kina in total to their salaries for the last 3 fortnights. The deductions range from 190 to 200 kina from pay period 18 to 20 of Wednesday last week. So far, 101 teachers from 4 schools in Lay District have had their salaries deducted for the last 3 fortnights.
Huonville's PNC chairman Anton Warakai today showed us statistics of the teachers who had pay cuts to their salaries in the last 3 fortnights. 200 kina was deducted from a teacher's salary in pay period 18, 190 kina was removed from another salary in pay period 19, and 200 kina each was taken out from 17 teachers' salaries in pay period 20 last week. Mr. Warakai has called on the government to quickly sort out this problem.
If there's administrative problems or some IT problems in the system that needs to be corrected, please spend time to correct it and bring the system back to normalcy so that teachers are not affected with the pay cuts. You know, that's my concern as a parent na PNC chairman of the school. Mas mi represent the mouse ng orga dal papa mama staff na long Lay City. And for them to come and make a big noise here when something goes bad at the end of the year, I'm not the issue that everyone else will not be here to address it. Me, but Mr. Nabantum headmaster, na chairman of this school, lo address him with issues. So I am putting it forward to the government and everybody else in this province to deal with this issue at the level that is expected by the parents. Because time only cross, you don't have to stop. I will be here to talk to the parents and you have to do it right by me and the teachers here at this school.
On Monday, we visited Omeli Primary School. 33 teachers had 200 kina each deducted from their salaries for the last 2 fortnights. Yesterday, all 27 teachers teaching at Milford Haven Primary School also had 150 kina to 200 kina removed from their salaries, while 32 teachers from Malang Technical Secondary were affected with the pay cuts. So far, 101 teachers in 4 schools in Late District reported pay deductions.
There are 56 to 60,000 teachers across the board, across Papua New Guinea. And if they are all affected, then I know that somebody is answerable. Somebody must tell us why this has happened. Payday 18 and payday 20.
Deducting huge amount of money from the teachers' wage salaries over the last 3 fortnights. They have not explained the reason why they are doing that. So we are really confused.
We have exams coming up as well, and that's another issue that must be dealt with at the level where it's sensitive, where teachers must be looked after.
In a response yesterday, Education Minister Nick Kuman said teachers have received lump sums of a 3% salary increment over 4 fortnights, and it had handed. He also admitted that the finance department had problems with the Alesco payroll system, which he said had been fixed.
And the last pay that they got was pay 19. That's it. That's the last pay of the lump sum of 200 kina that was paid to our teachers right throughout the country. And they received that 200 kina for a couple of pays preceding to pay 19. So what they have seen on pay 20 is their normal salary. They revert back to the normal pay with the 3% increase normal pay, and that's the only increase that they have, and it's no longer a lump sum they got. So their lump sum was terminated on pay 19.
Julie Badwi Owa, National EMTV News, Lay.
Various stakeholders have come out calling for an explanation over the ongoing pay cuts to teacher salaries. Priscilla Kare, a technical officer for the CIMC, who is heading a project to improve the quality of education, said education quality is affected if teachers are unhappy.
At this CIMC Education Forum today in Leh, the invited guests, including the Education Secretary, didn't attend. The forum gave participants an update on an education improvement program run by various partners, including World Vision and provincial governments. The backbone of the program, teachers who have been experiencing pay cuts over the last 3 fortnights. At least one of the participants said off record previous training workshops had been clouded by pay concerns raised by the teachers who attended.
Anywhere in the world, the focus on quality education is making sure that teachers are trained well.
Priscilla Kare, who led the program this morning, said the pay cuts are contributing to poor quality education.
Right now, we're suffering quality issues. Every moment when you cut back a teacher's salary, you are already issue of quality is going out the window.
For a teacher in a rural school who gets an average of 600 kina, a 200 kina deduction is a third of his pay gone. The Lutheran Education Coordinator said today a teacher he spoke to this morning told him his pay this fortnight was just 45 kina.
Suppose kaman emi true emi aimim desla quality learning block pikinini emo teacher I make him come up. Na suppose teacher emolino look out him good na make him something easy long all. And you failed in the quality education.
I don't have the funds to be able to attend to.
On his Facebook Live broadcast at midday, Oro Governor Gary Juffa responded to questions about the teachers' pay cuts. The wife of a senior education officer in the province also received 45 kina this fortnight.
Oro teachers have also been facing these problems with pays for last 4 fortnights, and the lack of media coverage in Papua has made it difficult for them to air out their frustration. His wife received 40 kina last fortnight as a teacher. I mean, this is ridiculous. 40 kina? What are you going to do with 40 kina?
While we've focused on the Lay City, teachers from as far away as Wewak and Tari have sent us information on the pay cuts. Many are still unable to get a clear explanation from the provincial education authorities. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lay.
And in news just in, Finance Minister James Marape told EMTV senior journalist Mary Bartolo that he is unaware of the pay cuts and that he will look into it. Mr. Marape is currently in Bougainville. Education Minister Nick Kuman yesterday visited the new Butuka Academy at Sabama in Port Moresby. He was taken on a tour around the school by Moresby South MP Justin Tichenko. Minister Kuman stressed that education remains a priority in PNG and thanked the Moresby South MP for taking such an initiative in building the academy.
The Butuka Academy was built through a joint sister city partnership between Port Moresby and Shenzhen City of China. The academy will have classes starting from elementary up to grade 12 all in one campus. And it has state-of-the-art facilities which include science laboratory, computer classes, music and creative art classrooms. Moresby South MP Justin Tichenko says the academy will have separate administration team that will focus on running the institution, while all teachers will concentrate on teaching the students.
All the teachers will be going through a teaching course in IT as well, separate to their current education. So they learned how to use this computerized system that is now in place and the different facilities that they have here. So, Minister, to your department, I want to say thank you for approving the structure for Butuka Academy. That's a big relief. Now we can advertise and get the best teachers for this school, School of Excellence, to get the best teachers for this school from elementary, primary to secondaries.
Minister Kuman, after touring the new facility, expressed satisfaction, saying the academy is of high quality and the best any school could have. He said the academy will also receive the tuition fee free funding from the government.
The elements and ingredients of a school setup is here, from elementary all the way to grade 12. One institution that keeps the entire school system that we have in the country. And Minister, you are fully aware that the restructuring that we are currently approved and currently implemented in the country, which is the 166. 166 is all here in Butuka.
The minister congratulated the member and the people of Moresby South for having such an institution in their district. The academy will be officially opened by the Chinese president on November 17. The academy will receive its first enrollment of students next year, giving first priority to the people of Moresby South. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
The police union of Papua New Guinea paid 10,000 kina in affiliation fees to the Papua New Guinea Trade Union Congress today in Port Moresby. The union said it was a way to say sorry and come back to the PNG TUC after pulling away.
The PNG TUC currently has 20 memberships, which compared to before where it had 70,000 memberships. During the presentation, Papua New Guinea Trade Union Congress President John Pascal said the initiative taken by the police union is mending the broken relationship.
We've been together for as long as I can remember, and they played a significant role in terms of giving assistance, moral and otherwise, to the support of the Trade Union Congress. And the payment of the check is significant because it indicates meaningful affiliation to the Trade Union Congress. People become members of a club or a church or an association and they pay a certain amount of money. And that signifies the value of their membership. It's meaningful in that sense.
Police Union President Loa Tambua said the police union pulled out of the PNG TUC for their own reasons, but due to circumstances beyond their control, they had to come back.
Then after 12 or 13 years, we elected our National Executive Board, and the Executive Board is now in place. All right, it is like every one of us, as the unions, we have gone our own way. Mibla lusi mama blo mibla na. Kind of small pigini go number there mibla go. We've been operating our own way, individual unions, for the last 13, 14 years. Mibla making my mind blow mibla lo come back. Lo National Center blow me. Come back lo mama blow me. Because mibla looking polite blow explanation. Mibla looking situational workers blow me work lo facing today. We have a bigger issue that is ahead of us.
The event has reunited all the unions to speak and work together as one.
So what Mibla thinking now is that we all come back together to our national center, Trade Union Congress, as a group in solidarity. Mibla must fight the labor employment. That is why we are here today as the police union. We'll take him lead, long talk saval, or not all unions blow you me too. Or say you me paying fees blow you me.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea Trade Union Congress President John Pasca has responded to calls from the public to play a more active role in holding the government to account. He said today that the role of the PNG-TUC is not to remove government, but to ensure that the welfare of workers in the country is not overlooked.
Papua New Guinea's industrial relation function in a three-way system with government, employers and unions all contributing to open dialogue. PNG-TUC President John Pasca has been a long-serving advocate in the labor movement in Papua New Guinea and the welfare and rights of workers across the board. During an interview with EMTV, Pasca said many people do not understand the role of the PNG-TUC.
The social media and so on and so forth, they say, why is the union movement not protesting, not demonstrating, not going on strikes and so on and so forth to remove government? That is not the role of the union movement, but I say this also, that wherever we consider that the powers have crossed the line with respect to the national constitution and other issues that threaten the livelihood of the ordinary people of Papua New Guinea, we will make our point known.
Pasca says with the APEC meeting coming next month, some of the most important issues that will be discussed will be about minimum wage. According to Pasca, the country's minimum wage of $3.50 per hour is not practical to meet the cost of living, which continues to rise every day.
We are the biggest economy in the South Pacific region, but we pay the lowest minimum wage rate. This is not only shocking, it's very shameful.
Pasca says the PNG-TUC had over 70,000 membership, but due to their own reasons, most of them pulled out from the Congress over the years.
There is this minimum wage, the cost of living has gone through the roof, there's reorganizations of various institutions of government, crime is on the rise, women's rights are being undermined, discrimination is in place, equality in terms of payment of wages must be addressed, housing for workers. You name it, the list just unfolds on and on and on. These are the bigger challenges that the leadership of the union movement must confront and must face together as one entity under one umbrella.
The police union today paid a total of 10,000 kina in affiliation fees, signaling its return to the PNG-TUC. Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
Paradise Foods Limited have announced their winners of the 2018 MNOW Biscuit Bumper Sticker Promotion. The 4-week promo was a part of the 43rd Independence celebrations and dispersed 150,000 bumper stickers nationwide through the purchase of a 6-pack of the MNOW biscuit. Julian T., a winner from Mount Hagen who walked away with 5,000 kina prize money, was surprised when her vehicle registration was announced live on Now FM at the time she and her family were on a weekend trip to Lay. Paradise Foods Limited Chief Executive Officer Michael Shields congratulated T on winning. Paradise Foods Limited has been operating in PNG for over 80 years with manufacturing sites in Port Moresby and Lay, and is proud to be 100% nationally owned. You're with the news on EMTV, Still the One. We take a look at stories making headlines overseas after these short messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, just seconds made the difference between life and death when the earthquake and tsunami struck. But in the midst of the devastation, stories of true heroism have emerged.
A sign of hope amid the destruction and staggering death toll in Indonesia. A man is pulled from the debris of a building in Palu, still alive after being buried in the rubble since Friday's earthquake and tsunami. It's a struggle to survive repeated thousands of times as desperation sinks in for the people living in tents and on the streets as they search for clean water and food. Panicked people push and scuffle for the handout of supplies. Getting a chicken from a police truck could determine if a family eats that day or not. Lines of containers snake around gas stations where people hope to siphon the last drops of petrol left in the city. Even in the dismal conditions, stories are emerging of humanity at its best. 21-year-old air traffic controller Antonius Gunawan Agung is being called a hero after he guided planes to safety during the disaster until it was too late to save himself.
He stayed in his positions until the very last of my departure and until the tower was shaking very bad. Once he made sure that the aircraft departed safely, then he jumped from the tower. I call him my guardian angels.
In yet another example of the resilience of the survivors, a grandmother holds a newborn baby born after the earthquake, a new life to cradle in the wake of so much tragedy.
Donald Trump is drawing a line when it comes to his Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. He told reporters that if Kavanaugh lied to Congress, that would be unacceptable. He also said much will depend on what comes from the ongoing FBI investigation.
They are 5 days into this supplemental background investigation, and really it's unclear, though, how broad it will be. We do know that 4 key witnesses have been interviewed. All of those witnesses relate to the 2 sexual assault or misconduct allegations that Brett Kavanaugh is facing. But right now, there is still some question as to where the FBI might turn its focus next, or if at this point, the probe might be essentially wrapped up.
I think that Judge Kavanaugh is doing pretty well, it seems to me, over the last 24 hours. A lot is going to depend on what comes back from the FBI in terms of their additional number 7 investigation. But I think that Judge Kavanaugh is doing very well right now.
The FBI wrapping up its interview with Mark Judge, the 4th of the key witnesses Republicans wanted investigators to talk to.
Man, the old gym here at Georgetown Prep.
Judge is a filmmaker who Christine Blasey Ford says was in the room when she was allegedly assaulted by Kavanaugh at a high school party in 1982.
A couple of times I made eye contact with Mark and thought he might try to help me, but he did not.
Both Judge and Kavanaugh have denied the allegations. At least 3 others have talked to the FBI. Leland Kaiser and P.J. Smith, who Blasey Ford said were at the party. Both have said they have no recollection of it. And Deborah Ramirez, who accused Kavanaugh of exposing himself to her at a Yale party. Blasey Ford's team says they have not been contacted by the FBI as questions mount about the extent of the agency's investigation. Republican Senator Jeff Flake says the FBI is questioning more witnesses.
They interviewed the first 4 that were named and have branched off from there, is my understanding, and are interviewing additional individuals, and as it should be. And I hope that they follow leads that come from those first interviews.
This, as CNN has obtained an unredacted police report, which substantiates a claim made by Kavanaugh's Yale classmate, Chad Ludington, that Kavanaugh started a brawl at a New Haven bar in 1985.
Brett said, you, or something to that effect, and threw the ice at the guy. The guy, understandably, even though he had been aggressive in his response, found that was a little one step too far. So he took a swing at Brett, and then they were kind of, 2 guys fighting.
Ludington tells CNN he contacted the FBI, alleging Kavanaugh misrepresented his college drinking habits to Congress.
There was definitely some aggression some aggression that did come out quite often when Brett was drunk.
The police report shows Kavanaugh's close friend, Chris Dudley, was detained. His lawyer says, to be clear, after investigation, Chris Dudley was never arrested by Yale or New Haven police, was never charged with the crime, and never set foot in court. Dudley, a former NBA player, has defended Kavanaugh, saying he never saw him black out during their time in college together. New Haven police say the report is inconclusive regarding Kavanaugh's physical state that night. In the report, Kavanaugh said he preferred not to answer whether he threw the ice.
Based on the report, there is nothing that indicates whether or not he was inebriated.
And New Haven's police chief says the department has not been contacted by the FBI about that 1985 bar brawl incident. And in the meantime, though, Christine Blasey Ford's lawyers, they're going directly to the FBI to express their concern that she hasn't been interviewed yet. They say they've repeatedly contacted the FBI. They say they've offered names of witnesses who might be able to corroborate her story. And they say they've been repeatedly ignored.
U.S. President Donald Trump likes to brag about being a self-made multi-billionaire, but a months-long analysis by his hometown newspaper is calling all of that into question. And it's also raising serious questions about whether or not he broke the law.
A blockbuster investigation. The New York Times reporting that Donald Trump participated in dubious tax schemes during the 1990s, including instances of outright fraud. The Times investigation reviewed thousands of confidential financial records, tax returns, and interviews with people close to Donald Trump's father. Their investigation found that Trump received over $400 million from his father through tax dodges, casting doubt on Trump's longtime claims that he's a self-made billionaire. The Times reported that much of the money came through tax dodges, where Trump and his siblings helped their parents set up sham corporations to disguise millions of dollars in gifts. Trump also helped his father take improper tax deductions and helped formulate a strategy to undervalue his parents' real estate holdings by hundreds of millions of dollars. All that went to reduce Trump's tax bill when the properties were transferred to him and his siblings. The Times review found that in total, Trump's parents transferred over $1 billion to their children, which could have produced a tax bill of $550 million, but instead the Trumps paid a total of only $52 million in taxes. The Times said it found a pattern of Trump's dependence on his father's wealth that started when Trump was young. Trump was earning $200,000 a year when he was 3, and by the time he was 8 years old, he was already a millionaire. His father continued to backstop his son when Trump's ventures into the casino business in Atlantic City ran into financial trouble. The Times challenged Trump's mythology that he received only a $1 million loan from his father, one he had to repay with interest. Well, the Times reporting shows, in fact, Trump received $60 million in loans from his father, about $140 million in today's dollars. Much of that was never repaid. Now, Trump's attorney, Charles Hardner, has said the New York Times allegations of fraud and tax evasion are 100% false and highly defamatory. There was no fraud or tax evasion by anyone. The facts upon which the Times bases its allegations are extremely inaccurate. He goes on to say that President Trump had virtually no involvement whatsoever with these matters. The affairs were handled by other Trump family members who were not experts themselves and therefore relied entirely upon licensed professionals to ensure full compliance with the law.
British Prime Minister Theresa May has promised that Brexit will fix the UK's immigration problems. The current proposal means low-scale migrants will fall under a new visa system which looks at experience rather than where they're from.
Regaining control of our borders is a fundamental aim of the government after Brexit. Among those who will be made less welcome, arriving here in Dorset, for example, are low-skilled migrant workers. So that would include many care workers, health workers, farm workers, construction workers, hospitality workers, the very people who currently keep this local area functioning. But the Prime Minister's clear. After Brexit, she wants the UK to become a low-migration economy with greater emphasis on British workers.
We will be bringing an end to free movement once and for all. So we will be able to decide the basis on which people come to the UK. That hasn't been possible for many years. For people coming from the EU, that will change.
The government says the new immigration strategy will prioritise high-skilled workers with no preferential treatment for EU citizens and a minimum salary requirement to keep out lower-skilled migrants. Half the staff at this care home are immigrants. The manager, herself from Slovakia, says without foreign staff the situation would be bleak.
I think most of the care homes will be shut down because they take in European people, work for them here.
Tourism and hospitality adds almost £1 billion to Bournemouth's economy and employs close to 15,000 people. Without staff like Lillian from Spain, it's warned many businesses will close. The Prime Minister wants control of our borders, an end to free movement and a big fall in net migration. But she also wants to negotiate what's best for Britain. And that's where the debate will rage.
This is National EMTV News. We have some sporting action coming your way next with Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. WR Carpenters today presented the keys of a Nissan bus in Port Moresby to Special Olympics PNG. The bus will be used by Special Olympics PNG to transport its athletes, coaches and doctors. Also present to witness the handover of the key was Special Olympics PNG patron Linda Babao O'Neill.
With transportation becoming an expensive exercise in the nation's capital, thanks to Borocom Motors and WR Carpenters, Special Olympics PNG will now be able to safely transport its staff and athletes to and from places as they go about doing their day-to-day activities. The van will help Special Olympics PNG to carry out its programs in various parts of the city, one of which includes the screening of athletes or persons with a disability. Special Olympics PNG President Takale Tuna says the van is a great relief for his team of athletes, doctors and support staff.
Basically, this van is a great relief for my team. In the last 6 years, we've been running around 6 programs. There is the Healthy Communities program that Uni spoke about, where we have volunteers, doctors, some of them are with us today, from the Palm General Hospital, who go out to the NCD, more to Koita villages, and in as far as Gaba Gaba and all the way to Papa Lea Lea, where our team goes there using their own resources to actually do screening for people with intellectual disabilities.
Thanking WR Carpenters and Borocom Motors for their support was patron of Special Olympics PNG, Linda Babao O'Neill.
This vehicle will safely take our wonderful athletes to and from their venues so that they can do their sporting activities to keep them healthy, strong, and part of our communities, especially in our unified sports areas. It'll also enable our wonderful doctors from Port Moresby General Hospital, who are volunteers, to get to those remote areas safely, again with a Nissan, just saying. And they've been, transportation has always been very difficult for us. So once again, thank you for helping, especially people who have disabilities, people who are not seen and heard from.
Tuna says from its unified sports program, a team will be sent to the United Arab Emirates next year to attend the World Summer Games.
As you can see, this team here, they qualified by right to go to the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi next year, March, to participate in the Special Olympics World Summer Games. That's not the first time we've gone. We've been to LA for the last World Summer Games, where we won two bronze and 1 silver. So we've been doing quite well, but it's through the help of a lot of parents who are standing over there that have helped us reach this milestone. So on behalf of Special Olympics PNG, our volunteers, our team leaders, we thank WR Carpenters Group of Companies through Borocom Motors for donating this van. Thank you so much.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
The PNG Prime Minister's 13 team had their first training session today at the National Football Stadium. Coach Michael Marum named his team to take on the Australian Prime Minister's 13 team on Saturday. David Mead was appointed captain, while James Sigiaro as vice.
Coach Michael Marum has named Edene Gebi and Dan Russell to start in this weekend's match.
The good thing is, we built this team up over the past 3 years. Some boys didn't play World Cup or, didn't play Pacific Test mid-year. So, there's nothing much you can teach them. They know what to do.
The team had their first training session today, with most of the players arriving in the country. Marum has named David Mead as captain and James Sigiaro as vice-captain to lead the team.
No need to change any captaincy. I think everyone next is expected to play their role. Those two boys will just be leading the team out. But, we expect performance from everyone else there.
David Mead says he's glad to be back and honoured to lead the team this weekend.
Obviously pretty excited to be back in camp with the players. It's been a long time since I played for the Kumals. My last game unfortunately was one to forget against England, so I'm really excited to be back in camp.
Mead says the team is preparing well and looking forward to the match on Saturday.
The guys I'm with, everyone knows how to prepare really well now, so and for us it's about, we've only got a short period of time to prepare for the game, so we'll try and prepare the best we can. And for me personally, it's always been the same. Train hard and prepare well.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
You're with Trukai Sports. We have more on the other side. We'll see you in a bit.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Overseas now, Sydney Roosters skipper Boyd Cordner has replaced Greg Inglis as Kangaroos captain for this month's test against the Kiwis in Tonga. It comes after the Rabbitohs centre accepted a 2-match suspension for being charged for drunk driving.
Less than 24 hours in the job and the new captain of the Kangaroos was fighting to keep it.
This has just got everything to do with me making one of those silly mistakes, those stupid mistakes that I shouldn't have done.
Greg Inglis was riding the roller coaster.
You're the captain of your country, son.
Yeah, I know, mate, I can't believe it.
From a career high to a shattering low. As
a player and as a person around this community, it's not good enough. Hey guys, just heading out to Dubbo, Wall Street Warriors.
Inglis spent the weekend in the country playing in an Indigenous rugby league tournament.
All it is about giving the kids a chance and giving back to the community. So I'll see you guys out there.
But on the drive back to Sydney, the Rabbitohs star was stopped by police on the Great Western Highway at Lithgow and booked for speeding, doing 99 in an 80 zone. He was also charged with mid-range drink driving.
I thought I was feeling fine. Obviously it wasn't, and if you think you feel fine, well then it's probably the best way. You probably don't jump behind the wheel.
By mid-afternoon, the Kangaroos coach, who yesterday gave him the job,
we congratulate Greg on being appointed captain of the Kangaroos.
Today took it away. In a statement, Mal Meninga said Inglis had shown real leadership by the way he's been accountable for his actions. Inglis will miss the 2 upcoming test matches against New Zealand and Tonga, and next month will have his day in Lithgow Court.
That story wraps up Trukai Sports for tonight. Up next, here were the details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Look at the weather forecast in the southern region. Fine, although cloudy in Port Moresby. Fine weather in Popondetta. Brief showers in Daru, Kerema and Alatau.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday, the 3rd of October 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV news team from around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.